Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's amazing, the sun's shining today. Been to Slimming World and it's not raining. That's a first, and it's quite a bit warmer. It's been so cold all week, but we've still managed to walk 43.02 miles. Bit down on last week, but hey, can't fit everything in. Right, my results for this week are I lost a pound. Now that I feel is a deserved result because I stuck to plan 100%, thoroughly enjoyed my food, had between 8 and 10 stins a day and did my walking. And yeah, I really feel that this week I got the result I deserved. I'm going to talk about group this morning, quite a sizable group, maybe not as big as usual. I think there are a lot of things going off around here. Mums are getting ready for Christmas shopping and such like, so we had a brilliant attendance at group, but maybe 10 less people than normal to stay. Some good results, some good awards. One of the things we were talking about this morning was this coming week, to all intents and purposes, should be quite a clear week. There's no half term, there's no Halloween or any of the big things. The Beaujolais thing was yesterday, wasn't it? Lots of people around here going for Beaujolais breakfast. Don't like it myself. It's not a wine I've ever liked, so it wasn't a problem for me. And we were talking about this coming week should be quite a clear week for most of us. No national holidays or anything. One lady who has an American brother-in-law reminded us of Thanksgiving, but most of us don't have a need to be eating pumpkin pie this week. So happy Thanksgiving to Laurie in Boston, Massachusetts. Have a good one. And for the rest of us, steer clear. We don't need pumpkin pie. Right, what we decided, talking amongst ourselves in the group, was that we could, to all intents and purposes, have a good week this week. And so we set a £2 challenge to see how many of us could lose £2 in the week. Now, I'll just carry on doing what I usually do and sticking to plan. If I lose anything or I gain anything, it's fine. I think at the weight I am today, I wouldn't necessarily be wanting to lose £2, but I might try and contribute £0.5 to the pot. So that's it. Let's see. With the big group that we've got, or the two big groups that we've got, I think the aim is we would like to lose £200 next week between the two groups. It might happen, it might not, but we'll all do our best. Now, I don't know if this happened in other groups this week, but Naomi had a bag, and in that bag she had the tools to have a good week on plan and, in theory, lose £2. And she took those tools out. The first one was a measuring jug. The second one was a set of measuring spoons. The third one was a set of digital scales. And the fourth one was our book and pack. And with those tools, we are all equipped with everything we need to stick to plan and lose weight. So as a group, that's what we're going to have a go at doing this week. There's a lot of laughter, a lot of people encouraging each other. It's a very motivational group, and everybody does really have everybody else's backs. We go out of our way to help each other and support each other. And that's what it feels like, the Slimming World family. It's brilliant. A reminder that on Monday of next week, the new gravy, sin-free onion gravy, will be in Iceland. Can't promise I'll go and buy it because I'm not a gravy fan, but have heard that there are some good pre-tasting results out there. People are liking it, and of course it will have the recipe on the packaging. So once you've bought it and tried it, you can make your own. I think I am curious actually to see how they're going to make it sin-free, but I bet anybody a tenner it'll have sweetener in it, and that put me off because I don't do sweet and savoury together like that. I don't like an edge of sweetness to my savoury things, but it will be interesting to see what people think of it next week. We had lots of samplers out this morning for the new mint chocolate bar, and I think Naomi said she sold 150 boxes this morning. I bought 5, I'll confess. Generally steer away from chocolate hi-fi bars because I don't like to eat chocolate every day. But we'll see how I go. If I find that they're a problem and I'm getting obsessive about it, we've got a wheelie bin, so I'm well equipped. Yeah. My results for this week were really pleasing because it took me to somewhere that I haven't been for 50 years. And I'll explain that in a moment. When I say to you that my word for this week is firsts, F-I-R-S-T-S, firsts. And I've just sent Joe a little text with a list of firsts that I want to bring to you this morning that actually have spoken to me this week. Things just from this week that I've recognised to be firsts in my life. So I'll ask Joe, what's the first one on my list, Joe?
In the 9 stones.
Yeah. My £1 loss this morning took me into the 9 stones. Now that for a lot of people may not be an amazing feat, but for me, the last time I was in the 9 stone bracket, I was probably 9 or 10 years old and certainly still at junior school. So I'm all singing or dancing today. I know that last week I hit 10 stone and I talked about maybe resetting my target. Talked about it with Joe. Spoke to a lovely lady in the Scarborough area, she knows who she is, who is always very loving and very honest with me. Took on board what both of these people who I'm very fond of had to say. Spoke to my consultant last Saturday night and decided that for me, 10 stone was far enough to go. I didn't want to set my target prematurely, but neither do I want to keep pushing my luck and pushing my weight loss further down to end up with too much sagging skin and actually looking older than my 60 years. And I think I'm at a place in my life at the moment where I'm comfortable with being the age I am, looking the age I am, without pushing it too far. So I reset my target last Saturday night at 10 stone. Lost a pound this week, which has taken me to 9 stone 13. And as I say, the last time I was in the 9 stones, I was 9 or 10 years old. And even though through my teens I wasn't morbidly obese, I was on the big side and above average. You know, when I was maybe 14, I was wearing a size 16 dress when my friends were wearing 10s. When I was 18, I was wearing probably an 18 dress when my friends were still wearing size 10s. All because I was greedy, no other reason. Many years of compulsive overeating, binge eating, and 20 years of bulimia. That's the price I paid. But I talk about some of those things in more depth another week. So yeah, I'm celebrating today. Really cheerful, really happy, really grateful to be back in the 9 stones. And it's not something I ever imagined I would be able to do. So it just shows you this plan can take you to places you never dreamt of. Second one, Jet?
Massage.
Yeah, somebody asked me a few weeks ago if I would share my skincare regime. And this brought about a lot of laughter because I actually don't have one. I have never owned any skincare products. I've never worn makeup, apart from I do have my eyelashes tinted, because I've got reasonably long eyelashes to start with, but the thought of wearing mascara when you're blind, I can do the top lashes, I struggle with the bottom ones, and to be honest with you, it's too much of a fag. I can't be bothered. So I do have my eyelashes tinted, and that's not regularly, it's when I remember. But apart from that, I don't own, well, I do own one tube of Garnier something or other face cream, which one of my friends gave me for my birthday, but it hasn't been opened yet. I'll try, Liz, I promise. So I don't own any skincare products, I never have. I don't own any makeup. The only makeup I've had in my adult life was when Joe was about 6 years old. Bless him, for my birthday he bought me a lipstick, and he probably won't even remember. But at the time I had a sort of apricot coloured top And Joe bought me a lipstick in exactly the same shade. He thought it was really sweet. And it was really sweet. And I did wear it once. And I wore it for church. And my minister friend couldn't stop laughing. And he said, for God's sake, go and wipe it off. You look odd. Can you remember, Joe?
No.
You can't remember? You were 6. I think it was Dad's influence. So yeah, I don't own makeup. I don't have a skin regime or a makeup regime. I'm a lazy person. I tell you what I do. I go in a red hot shower every morning. I wash my hair with Alberto Balsam shampoo, raspberry flavoured. I've been using the same shampoo for more years than I care to remember. I never condition my hair because it's too fine and fly away. And when I'm washing my hair in the shower and I have the water really hot, with the shampoo still on my hands, I wash my face. That's my skincare regime. And if I wash my face in between because I'm going out or something, it's a hot wet flannel. So there you go. That's the signs of a lazy woman. But fortunately, I think my skin's quite reasonable. This week, as a real attempt to be grown up and sophisticated, and after listening to Lynn Richards' video from a couple of weeks ago when Lynn was talking about being in Primark and treating herself to some skincare products and makeup products, which was really interesting, I decided on Wednesday to go for a facial. Now this is my first ever facial. It lasted 75 minutes. It was absolute bliss. I think she did 12 different things to my face. I almost lost count because I was just about asleep halfway through it. So I had every kind of cleanser and toner and moisturising, facial scrub, mud mask, eye cream, God knows what, the lot. I had the lot. And then I had a massage with a facial massage and a neck massage with hot shells made of porcelain and ground up shell. And it was lovely. But to be perfectly honest, I think it was £55 with the eyelash tint, but I did have a £30 voucher from a friend for my birthday. After all that fuss and all that palaver, my skin feels absolutely no different. So while it was a beautifully relaxing thing to do, and I'd recommend it for the relaxation aspect, it hasn't made any difference to my skin, but it was a really pleasurable experience. Next one, Joe. And it was a first. That's my first.
Crossing legs.
Yeah, I noticed this week I was, it happened twice actually. The first time it happened was earlier in the week. I was sitting at my new desk. My new desk is reasonably tall because under the top of the desk you pull out a drawer and then the front of the drawer drops down from magnets and reveals the keyboard. And I was sitting on my stool at my desk working away when I automatically crossed my legs. And then I kind of stopped and I thought, oh my God, I can cross my legs under the drawer of my desk. Now, I'm the person who was so big at one point, I used to struggle to get my legs under a table, let alone crossing them with room to spare under a drawer. And then on Thursday evening, I was at the pub with a very good friend, and it happened again. I was just sitting, and you know how you sit forward, put your elbows on the table, and automatically cross my legs. And again, cross my legs under a table, sitting on a normal chair with inches to spare. Now, for some of you, that might not mean anything, but I think some people may relate to it. And it's another one of those firsts. And I can't tell you, these, for me, are the bonuses of actually being at Target. Things I never even imagined or thought would make a difference are starting to happen now and become firsts in my life. So yeah, cross my legs under a table. Next one, Jay?
Lint.
Yeah, last week I think it was in my video I mentioned.
It was after oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say when it was, when you had it. It was after the massage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Last week in my video I mentioned the new Lindt hot chocolate drink in Costa. I think I'd heard Mrs. Mummy Wright mention that she had one before the Woman of the Year final. She went to meet some friends and her consultant, and she'd had one. And that put the idea in my mind. I thought, that sounds lovely. So after my massage, when I was still zoned out, Joe was laughing at me because I was like I was on something. I was so relaxed. I could barely walk, couldn't I, Joe? I was just totally zonked out. It was really funny. I think I'd have been better going home to bed, except it was lunchtime. So we went to Aldi and did some shopping and then staggered across to Costa for the new Lindt hot chocolate. So that was a first. This is the size of the hot chocolate. This is the takeaway cup. If you have it in some Costas, you can have it in a glass, but this is the size of it. It's 163 calories, and according to the app, it's 8 sins. Now, last week I said I would try one and see if, in my opinion, it's worth 8 sins. Now, I've got to be truthful and say, if it had been 5 sins, I'd have thought it was worth it. It's very thick and it's very luscious. But 8 sins? If you've got 8 sins to waste or to spare, try it. It's nice. But if you count your sins as precious things, I wouldn't spend 8 on it. I had 8 sins to spare, so I've tried it. But I think you could get something nicer for 8 sins. Okay, that's only my opinion. You might try it, you might love it, you might want one every day from now till Christmas. Okay. Next one.
Hills.
Hills. Joe has got an obsession with walking up hills. Now, when I say this, it's a healthy obsession. But my little legs have never been used to it, and I certainly never had enough breath in my lungs to do it. If we leave home and walk round by the fields behind where we live and then aim off towards the south, we can walk up a very steep hill. Now, I couldn't walk up this hill. Maybe even a year ago, I couldn't walk up this hill. And when I got to the stage in my weight loss when I could manage this hill, because it's like that, when I got to the stage where I could manage the hill, I would stop 3, maybe 4 times on the way up to get my breath back, wouldn't I, Joe?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, get my breath back. So Joe decided, as part of our walking regime, whenever we leave home and we're heading in that direction, we start with the hill. Because once you've got that hill under your belt, you set up for a 10-mile walk. Well, this week, for the first time, so another first, we actually did it twice. We did the hill, we looped around the estate behind the hill, and we did it again. So twice within, 20 minutes?
Yeah, more or less.
And I flew up that hill. Never paused, never stopped, never got out of breath. And I was practically dancing by the time I got to the top. If it hadn't been the main road facing the crematorium, I think I'd have done a little jig, because that felt like such an achievement. Now, when we did it for the second time, we then looped back around the same estate, and we came back to a place where there were 2 hills, one going off ahead of us and one going to the right. And Joe said, "Which hill do you want to go up next?" And I just answered, and I said, was this the same day we did the facial and the hot chocolate, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I just answered and I said, "Joe, as long as I'm walking, I don't care which way we go." He looked at me and he said, "Who are you and what have you done with my mother?" Because he's never heard me respond like that before. I used to moan incessantly. I can't do another hill. I can't walk another mile. I can't do it. And now I can't get enough of it.
Now you choose to stand on the tram.
Yeah, I mean, if we catch the tram back out of the city, like yesterday we walked 6 miles and then we were heading home and we were running out of time because we had to be somewhere else later and we had things to do. So to cut half an hour off our walk home, we caught the tram out of the city. But I don't even sit down on the tram now. Now, I used to be the person who would sit down at every opportunity. If I was passing a wall and I could sit down for 2 minutes, I'd sit on it. Could never pass a bench without sitting on it. I would do anything to get a seat on a bus or a tram. I just could not stand. I used to find it painful, physically painful, hurt my back to stand too long. I always had to lean against something or prop myself up on something because I was so heavy. And now, rather than, you get on the tram and there's plenty of empty seats, or Really lovely gentleman saying, would you like my seat? And they think I'm mad, I think, because I want to stand. And yesterday we were coming up, and we can get off about... The closest tram stop to our house is probably, what, half a mile?
Yeah.
Probably about... Sorry, it's my neighbour. Yeah, the closest tram stop to our house is probably half a mile away. But yesterday we chose to get off half a mile before that and then walk round the top of the estate, which is behind where we live, to add another half mile to make it a 1.5 mile walk home. We got back in time for what we needed to do. One of the things that is really funny, when we walk up the hill towards where we live, we come through a big estate, and on the roads they've got these speed indicators that are supposed to keep you to driving 30 miles an hour. But we keep walking up the hill towards where we live, and the darn thing keeps clocking us at 4 miles an hour, which really makes us laugh, doesn't it? If there are any cars coming, it gets the cars, but if there's no car, as we walk up towards it, it keeps clocking us at 4 miles an hour. So, yeah, 4 miles an hour. It's not bad going when you're walking home after a 9.5 mile walk and you're half a mile from home. You know? I used to start like that and crawl back at 0.5 mile an hour. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. So, yeah. First this week I did the big hill twice in 20 minutes. Next one.
Chocolate orange.
Chocolate oranges. I have one of the little devils here. Joe has 30 of these currently. Not because he eats them, because he doesn't like them. He actually doesn't like them. It's clear shot. Something Joe gets involved with on Christmas Eve. Needs 30 chocolate oranges. So he was in Asda this morning getting a few veg and some fish, and noticed that Asda currently have chocolate oranges on sale at 50p. And we looked at them about a week ago, didn't we, in Tesco?
Yeah.
This same chocolate orange in Tesco a week ago was £2.75. And when you need to buy 30, you don't want to pay £2.75. So Joe's been looking out for them at a quid. And as I say, in Asda, at the moment, they're 50p. I'm not encouraging you to dash out and buy them for Christmas. I could eat 2 without pausing, but I promise I will not touch these. I know I won't touch them, because nothing tastes better than losing weight feels, and I'm not going to jeopardise my weight loss for the sake of one of these evil little things. We're just smiling because it says made with, what was it, the word they used?
Real
orange oil. Not real orange,
Not
real
real
orange oil.
Real orange oil.
Well, I won't touch Joe's 30 chocolate oranges, and I'll tell you why. One of those chocolate oranges can lead me into a really dangerous place. As a binge eater, one of those chocolate oranges could lead to another, could lead to another, could lead to a dozen bags of Walker's crisps, would then need something else sweet. I might lead to some Toblerone, which Joe tells me they're making the gaps in Toblerone bigger because chocolate's too expensive. So if you buy Toblerones, you're going to get bigger gaps. Which would, then lead to maybe some Toblerone or some cake, which would then lead to something else savoury, which would probably be pork pie, which would then lead to me having my head down the toilet for about 25 minutes, because the bulimia can rear its ugly head. I'm not sure that I could ever recover from those things and say I am 100% recovered, but I know today, by the grace of God and Slimming World, I am 95% recovered from those things. And the only time I put myself in danger of acting on those things today is when I choose to. Because I chose to kick it off with one of these, could take me to a really bad place. So for today, no thanks. Asda could give them away and I still wouldn't eat them. But did you know, and this is what we found interesting, one segment of this is 2.5 sins. 4 segments is considered a portion. Who the hell ever has 4 segments? If you do, well, be proud of yourself, because it'd be more likely for me to have 4 oranges. Now, 4 segments is a portion. 4 segments is 10 sins. But if you were to invoke the 20 calories per sin rule, you would be way out on one of these. Because this orange is 50 calories.
50 sins.
Sorry, 50 sins.
Sorry.
If you invoked the 20 calories per sin rule, it only comes out at about 41 sins. So more and more I encourage people, drop that rule. Use your app. Because on so many things in my group we are finding, if you use the 20 calories for one sin rule, you can be way out. So if something has a sin value, as this does, don't disregard it and make up your own rules, because the only person who will pay a price is you. Now there is a Tesco version apparently of these, and they're only 2 sins per segment, if that helps you at all. But I think your best plan is steer clear. Terry's chocolate orange won't change your life. Losing weight will. And that's from experience. Any more on my list?
No, that's it.
Jacket.
Jacket, sorry.
I walked into group this morning and I was wearing a new Michael Kors jacket, and it's the same colour blue as the top I'm wearing currently. And I have never, and this is a first for me, a real first, I have never had so much attention in one place. The number of people that went, oh wow, I love your jacket. And I think first it was a colour, because that I think this colour quite suits me, but for a jacket it is quite a stunning colour, and it's a jacket that is soft and
It's like a down jacket.
It's like a down duvet type jacket, but I bet it doesn't weigh 100 grams. It's as light as a feather, and the fabric is so silky and beautiful. And of course it's got the Michael Kors logo thing on the zips and the pockets. And even my consultant said this morning, oh wow Jane, where did you get that jacket? And then she went, oh, it's a Michael Kors. Now this is how naive I am. The other week, a couple of weeks ago when I got the jacket, I thought Michael Kors only made watches. I think I am so out of touch with things. Anyway, I had this jacket on, and my consultant, I took it off to get weighed, and my consultant said, can I try it on? And she actually put the jacket on, and everybody was like, oh my God, it looks stunning. You know, it looks really stunning on you. She's blonde to my grey. But I have never, ever gone into a venue before with friends or strangers and had anyone pay me so many compliments and actually felt like not going, you know what we usually do, oh this old thing or whatever. To accept a compliment and say thank you isn't easy, but it was nice. And to have somebody as beautiful as my group leader wanting to try my jacket on and it fit her made me realise, my God, I've got somewhere. Because when I met Naomi, I wanted what she'd got. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful person inside and out. And I really wanted what she'd got in the way of this plan. And to have her put my jacket on and for my jacket to actually fit her, and her turn to her husband and say, darling Santa, in other words, please can you get me one of these, was such a compliment this morning. And to accept that compliment with no embarrassment is a real first for me. I mean, when I was a size 26, unbelievably, nobody wanted to try my jacket on. I don't understand why. But yeah, these things that start to happen because of the weight loss, they're all icing on the Christmas cake, aren't they? Anyway, that's enough for today. Safe to say, I've had a lovely week. And my plan is to go forward and do exactly the same thing again, to stick to plan and enjoy it, and to see where it takes me. I'm going to a concert tonight, but I will not be one of the audience with the bags of Maltesers or the boxes of fudge. I don't need that anymore. I'm going for the music, not the food. The old me would have gone for the grup. Anyway, have a great week, all of you. Do your best. And if you'd like to share firsts, things that have happened to you, I'm sure the rest of us would love to read them. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for being there. And remember, it works if you work it. It won't if you don't. And Nikki, well done, girl, for giving up the fags. I'm proud of you. See? Make me cry. Cheers, everybody.